What is going on, YouTube? This is Jim, back with another video, and today I want to give you guys my review on Dead Cells. Now before we get into the video, please do me a favor. If you like what you see, consider commenting, rating, and subscribing to my channel. Help me get to 1,000 subs. Every subscriber helps. I greatly appreciate your support. With that, let's dive into the video. Now let me tell you guys that I am a huge fan of roguelite games. I have been playing these for a very long time, and they are by far my absolute favorite genre of games. I very routinely play Spelunky and Nuclear Throne and Crypt of the Necrodancer, Rogue Legacy. These are games that I frequently play. I enjoy them. I enjoy the challenge of permadeath, learning from my mistakes, playing through a character, growing attached to a character with godlike items and weapons, dying and doing it all over again. Well, maybe not the dying so much, but that is just a part of the game. I recently just beat Risk of Rain, and that was an amazing adventure. Really enjoyed that game. The reason I mention all of those games is because this game, to me, Dead Cells, is the best of that genre I have ever played. That is why I'm giving it a 10 out of 10, the absolute perfect score I can give a game. And I'm going to talk to you guys a little bit more about that now. But if you don't want to take my word for it, look on Metacritic, look at the critical praise this game is receiving, and rightfully so. Read the reviews, except for IGN's, because apparently they plagiarized, which is a little weird. But despite IGN's goofy review, everybody else universally is in love with this game, and I would contend to tell you guys, I think this is a Game of the Year contender. Now, will it win against the likes of a God of War or a Spider-Man? Probably not. But I totally see this game being the quote-unquote indie darling of this year's Game Awards. And I really feel it is a home run. Now, I'm playing it on the Switch, and that is, I think, the preferred version for this game. Yes, I know the PC version will look and run a little bit smoother, but a game like this is not a game that you're going to sit and play 6-7 hours straight. Probably don't play games 6 or 7 hours straight anyway. I do, but I'm a pretty crazy guy. My point is, these are games that you're going to play for a little bit, kind of get burnt out, so to speak, get frustrated, turn it off, and come back to it later. It's good in small doses, 30, 45 minutes, maybe even 15 minutes. And the Switch is a perfect console for that. This game was designed for the Nintendo Switch, in my opinion, and it looks and runs absolutely perfectly on the Switch. You're not going to have any issues with frame rate drops or long loading times or anything like that. I have yet to encounter any of that, and I've gotten pretty far into the game in my limited time playing it. So, why do I think this game is so good? Well, I think it learns from the lessons of every other roguelike game, and it just handles combat and leveling and upgrades in such a meaningful way. And there are so many systems in this game that compound on top of each other that really help you advance your character, not only in an instance where when you die that progress is lost, but as a greater understanding of the game and as a greater building block to future runs. So with a lot of these games, when you die, all your stuff is gone. There are instances in some of these games, this one is no exception, where you can slowly upgrade your character through a trait system or through an item purchasing system to give you a better chance at survival the next go-around. Now this game does that via collecting cells, and you'll see that as I am playing, I'm killing and collecting these orbs. Now these orbs are the cells that you cash in at the end of a level. All the levels are procedurally generated. They do follow a general theme in terms of like looks and appearances and kind of what area you're going to be in. There are some hard encounters that are very similar from time to time, especially when you're fighting elite enemies. You'll notice a lot of door layouts and chain layouts are very similar, but for the most part, every run will be very unique to each other. So when you start, you're not given anything except for an option to pick up a bow or a shield, and that's it. And you have to go out into the world and begin fighting and killing these enemies and collecting upgrades and getting your character stronger. Everything you do will make your character better in the game. Whether it is picking up items, whether it is saving gold to buy better items, whether it is cashing out blueprints for better, chances at loot, All these things are going to make you better in that instance. There are times, as I mentioned, where you're going to be able to cash in your souls at the end of a run for potential permanent unlocks, additional health potions, better starting weapons, that sort of thing. But the really good stuff, the stuff that you're going to sink your teeth into, the stuff that's going to make your character really powerful, is going to be found in the battlefield just by random loot drops running around or by cashing in money to vendors inside the world and getting better items. And that is a pretty standard formula for a lot of these games. That's not something that is really unique to this experience. What is unique to this experience, in my opinion, is that you can really start to customize your playstyle. You know, if you think of a game like Risk of Rain, or you think of a game like Crypt of the Necrodancer, you are very limited in your build, so to speak, into what items you get. So, for example, if you are playing Risk of Rain and you find a really good upgrade that maybe explodes enemies on damage, okay? Like when they die, they explode. You're going to play very differently than a build that maybe gives you twice the jump speed or faster run speed, because you're going to find that you're going to want to clump enemies together and get that maximum amount of oomph for your upgrade. Now, this is where, in my opinion, Dead Cells really starts to shine. And you probably saw it before, but you will see it again a few times. You're going to come across these upgrade scrolls, and you can either upgrade in Brutality, Tactics, or Survival. And you'll notice across the bottom of my screen, I have some items that are red, some that are purple, and eventually I will get some that are green. I don't have any currently on my inventory at the moment. And when you pick these upgrades, you're going to get to choose which of those does more damage, or which of those has a reduced cooldown. And you're also going to give a bigger health pool to your character. So when you start, you're relatively weak, you do not have many hit points. But as you start to upgrade and kind of choose your upgrade path, you're going to get plus 20% HP, plus 30% HP, that sort of thing. And you're going to get stronger and stronger. And I love this system because you may start playing and pick all brutality items at first. Those are the red damage items. But then suddenly you might come across this incredibly powerful bow or this incredibly powerful turret that would be a tactics type item, and you're going to wish, oh man, I had spent all these points on brutality, I'm stuck. Well, the great thing is you can start investing points into tactics if you want. You can stop the brutality upgrade and continue on. It's still going to make your character have more HP, it's still going to make your character stronger, but it's also going to let you optimize the weapons that you picked up and use those most effectively. And I love that system. That is something that has been missing in every single roguelike game. You are pretty much determined to the first 2 or 3 rare items you get in most games, and you have to build your character around that. In this game, you do not have to do that. In this game, you can customize and change on the fly into a better build that works for you situationally. And for that, I feel they've learned so many lessons from other roguelike games where you will start a game and go, oh, this is a bad run, and just kill yourself. I cannot tell you the number of times I've done this in Risk of Rain or in Spelunky where it's just, oh, this is a bad roll. You know, RN Jesus was not good to me today. I'm out. This game does not do that. Every run is meaningful. Every run could get you to that next tier of weapons or that next major permanent upgrade. And I feel because of that, it makes it really stand out. And that is what makes it shine. From somebody who's played a lot of these games, like I said, that is a very, very important piece of the game. Gameplay aside, or, mechanics aside, upgrading aside, let's talk about gameplay and mechanics. That's what I was trying to say. They work very well. It's a side-scrolling game that emphasizes on the speed of kills and the speed of movement. You'll notice as I start running in one direction, I start getting these little carrots over my head. That actually makes my character run faster. Now, you don't have to go fast. You could take your time and go slow. You can check your corners, so to speak. You can get your good shots off, try to isolate enemies, make every combat situation to your advantage. However, if you decide to play the game with the need for speed, you're going to be rewarded because there's a lot of doors and there's a lot of items in the game that are based on a time system. I came across a knight earlier today where it said, oh, the knight had freshly died. And I was able to loot the knight for a really good upgrade, a scroll and a really good item that helped me a lot in my run. Later on, another run, I was taking my time, going a little bit slower, a little more cautiously. and I stumbled across a very similar knight, and it said he has been dead for a while, and there was no chance of loot. There are other doors in the game that say, oh, you'll notice there's a timer on the mini-map that's constantly running. You'll come up to a door and it'll be like, oh, this door closed 30 seconds ago. Too bad. And you can't get in there. There's a treasure or there's an item or something in there that's going to progress your status that you just can't get to anymore. And for that reason, like I said, I feel like the speed element is pivotal, but is not required. It's something that you can actually just take your time. And if you don't want to get these good items, that's okay. Take your time. Use the gear that you have with you to make a better, a longer run, because you're not going to be as reckless. But if you have mastered the game in the movement, which is very fluid and very fast, you may find yourself in a good position. Other mechanics in this game, there's jumping, there's rolling, there's parrying, there's climbing, double jumping, that sort of thing. Really gets you around the world and around combat very easily. You're going to get abilities very rapidly with extremely low cooldowns. And I love the fact that they're low cooldowns because it allows you to experiment with your stuff. Risk of Rain has some cooldowns that are 30, 45 seconds long. This game, I think the longest cooldown I've seen is about 10 or 12 seconds, and that is not bad. Especially kind of in theme with the idea of going fast. The cooldowns are fast and combat is fluid, which really allows you to, get into battle quickly, do some really cool abilities, and move on. You're not going to be standing under a platform of an elite enemy, for example, for a minute or two, waiting for your abilities to go on cooldown so you could jump up and dump all your really cool attacks and try to burn down an enemy quickly. And I love that. I think that's a very smart system. So speed is an element to it. Combat, like I said, is very fast and fluid. The graphics look good. The sound looks good. The one thing I omitted was any kind of story. This game does not really have a story other than you're some sort of slug-like prisoner who is doomed to do this over and over again. Your character does have a sense of humor. There's really no lore or anything to be found. And honestly, I don't feel like in a game there needs to be. Spelunky really tried to inject this idea of Olmec's never-ending lair and how you're stuck in there forever and you can never get out. And I feel like, not that was a lost opportunity because it wasn't beating you over the head, but it really just didn't matter. This game is just about that one more level mentality. I think that's really where the story kind of starts and stops. There's no item descriptions or anything like that. There's really no motive by your character other than you're kind of doomed to repeat this. And you kind of take it in stride almost. It's almost as if your character's just accepted that they're in this strange world and they're just going to make light of it and have the most fun with it that they can. So there's not much writing to it. The NPCs in between when you're leveling up, either when you come back from death or when you complete a level, don't really offer much in the way of any kind of guidance or anything like that. And again, I don't think they really need to, but it really is a total package. It really is a good game from A to Z, and that's really why I'm giving it a perfect score. I can't really criticize it on anything. Everything that it does, from the upgrade system to the mini-maps to teleporting in the worlds to the time challenges if you want them, to the sense of progression, to permanent unlocks versus in-game unlocks. All of it just works so well together. It's really a treat to get a game like this, and this is definitely a game that I think will be on a lot of people's radar for a very, very long time, and I don't see this game going away. I don't see it having the lasting appeal as opposed to some of the other roguelike games that I played, like Crypt of the Necrodancer, for example. That was a fun game, but it's pretty much over now. I mean, I still play it occasionally, but a game like this, where you have a time element to it, I see a big speedrunning community coming out of this. I see people trying to get some really crazy power builds, just buffing up brutality, or trying to get the most powerful trinkets that they can to just one-shot bosses and one-shot enemies and elites and that sort of thing. And I really look forward to watching those videos and seeing what kind of RNG the community gets, whether it's good or bad. But again, because you can make the most of any of your combat items and you can make the most of whatever the game throws at you at all times, thanks to those scrolls, I really feel like you're going to see a lot of people experimenting and exploring with this world. There's a lot of things in this game I don't yet understand. Sometimes I could like tickle, it looks like grass maybe. You can rub this electrocuting shrine and it's supposed to do something, I guess. I don't know. That's part of the excitement with these games, is there's so many new elements that people have yet to explore and learn. I'm sure wikis are going to populate up and pop up and people are going to be able to talk about it more. But from a general perspective, this game hits everything in stride. And there you guys have it, my gushing review of Dead Cells. Like I said, for me, definitely a Game of the Year contender. One I highly encourage you to check out. If you have a Nintendo Switch, I think that's the platform you want to get it on. Although it is available on other platforms, the style of this game really suits Nintendo Switch's portability and small bursting of playing the game for a while before you get burnt out. As always, I want to thank you guys so much for watching. If you're still listening to my voice, congratulations, you made it to the end. Did I mention you should probably subscribe? Because you really should. If you like this video, check out other videos on my channel. As always, I want to thank you guys so much for watching, and until next time, I will see you guys on the other side.